What's good all day, fam? Back again for another day. No days off on this platform. You already know how we do it. You already know what I'm about. Let's get straight to it. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up some notes real quick. My bad. My file went off, so my notes went off, so I had to go pull that up real quick. That's weird, but anyway, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning right now. I said I was going to be on here yesterday, but I missed it. So, but no days off. It means you return. That's what no days off means on this platform. That's what that means to me. So, you may not have perfect days, but you always gonna keep returning to keep the consistency going. So, real quick, Al-Shaair and Montez Sweat, they check in at number 92 and 91 on the NFL top 100 players of 2026 list. And both names prove one thing that defense still matters. So I'm gonna react to give you my expression about Al-Shaair making his NFL top 100 debut after a Pro Bowl season with the Houston Texans, and breaks down why his tackling, coverage impact, and role in Houston's elite defense deserves more attention, which it already pretty much does. And to be honest with you, and I'm also going to look into Montez Sweat, who I'm not really that big on, but I think he's a solid player. I think he's a solid player for the Chicago Bears. Had a double-digit sack season. Quarterback here who's pretty good quarterback pressure, forced turnovers, and he had a pretty good playoff impact. So, I mean, the NFL is built around quarterbacks and offensive highlights, but linebackers and edge rushers, they still have an impact on games. And one controls the middle, one attacks the edge. So they are still, how can I put it? They are not still, but they are a very prominent asset to a defense, especially pass rushers. Pass rushers are one of the most important players on defense because they get to the quarterback, they get to the most player person on the entire team, which is the quarterback. And if you got a great elite pass rusher who can freaking get to the quarterback consistently, then you have a prominent blue chip player that can help you not only win games, but go deep into the playoffs and maybe even win a Super Bowl. Now, I think most teams, though, that has elite pass rushers, I'm thinking, if you think about it, not a lot of them actually had elite pass rushers that won Super Bowls. The Chiefs don't really have an elite pass rusher. The Eagles didn't really have an elite pass rusher. So if you kind of think about it, a lot of teams really pass rusher probably could be overrated. Now that I'm thinking about it, it could be slightly overrated, but that's arguable, that's debatable. But I'm thinking about teams that won Super Bowls, and all the elite pass rushers was not top five pass rushers was not on that team. So I mean, you talk about top five pass rushers, you talk about Michael Parsons, you got Max Crosby, Miles Garrett. Yeah, who else? So yeah, I gotta look into that. I don't I you know I just kind of just thought about that. They're still very important. Don't get me wrong, but they're not the most important player on defense, and they're not probably not as important as the media tries to make them. But we're catching back up with the NFL. We're catching back up with the NFL top 100 players list. I was doing this. I did two videos on this already from 100 to 91, I think. Yeah, 100 to 91. But I think the first video was 100 to 90, I think to like 95 or something like that. I can't remember, like 98. And then the second video I did, it was It was a few players, and then this one is just two slots, 92, 91, and 92, 92 and 91. So, as like I said, this is voted on by the players, which is why I like it. It is not perfect. Players have bias too. Repetition matters, but when the men actually playing the game vote you into this list, that means something. So today we have number 92 and number 91, and both of these players are defensive players. So, like I said, man, that's that. I like that. Defense still matters. Physicality still matters. Linebackers still matter, even though they're not talked about much. Edge rushers are. We talked about edge rushers, how they have this huge spectrum on them, how they have a lot of attention on them. The league can throw the ball all at once, but somebody still has to hit, cover, tackle, rush, and change the map of the game. And with that being said, I think really probably the most important player on defense, if before I get really into this, the 91, 90, 91 and 92, 91 slots with Al-Shaair and Montez Sweat, I feel like that probably cornerback is the most important position on defense, if you really think about it. And I'll do another video on that too, but I just kind of think, I mean, I could be a little biased because I played corner, but corner is a very, very important position. I'll say probably like obviously you need the trenches, but having an elite cornerback can really, really, really make playing defense a lot easier on all other players. Because if the quarterback don't have anybody to throw the ball to, that cornerback, man, that cornerback makes it so much easier for the defense to really give them more time to get to the quarterback, to force the team to run more. And especially if that team has an elite wide receiver and he's getting shut down by elite cornerback, it really, really helps. But that's something I can look into. But now when you look at this is the okay, so number 92, we have hold on. Let's see. Yeah, 92, we have as Azeez, I can't pronounce his last first name, I'm messing up, but Azeez Al-Shaair, linebacker for the Houston Texans. This is his first time making the NFL top 100. It comes after his first Pro Bowl season. He had 103 tackles, 9 passes defended, 2 interceptions, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Now, when you look at that stat, now when you look at the stat line, the first thing that jumps out is the tackles. He is a tackling machine. He is Al-Shaair. He's actually one of my favorite defensive players in the NFL because I love how physical he is. I love the physicality that he puts on tape. I love he's one of the very few defensive players in the NFL that still has like an old school playing style to him, and I love that. A lot of linebackers, like the big, huge, heavy hitting boxing heavy hitter, heavyweight boxing type of prototypical linebacker like Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher type of guys, even Patrick Willis guys, they pretty much have died off. But it's almost like the middle linebacker is almost like a dying breed because I can't really think of elite middle linebackers in the NFL right now. I mean, you got Fred Warner, and I can't really think of any others. I have to do my research. I have to look into it, but it wasn't like how it was back in the day where middle linebackers, they were so fun to watch, man. They were the focal point of the defense. They were the quarterback of the defense. They were the brain of the defense. And it was a time where probably middle linebacker was the most important player on the defense because they were the one that was calling the plays. They were the one that was leading in everything. If you had an elite middle linebacker, it was great. But we don't have that. It's not really like that much anymore because now the NFL is more of a passing league. So now you need more athletic linebackers, and these linebackers are built like safeties that was built back in the day. So that's the thing. So Al-Shaair had over 100 tackles. Again, that is the third time in his career he has crossed that mark. But what I really like is the coverage impact. 9 passes defended and 2 interceptions from an off-ball linebacker. That tells me he is not just running downhill. He is not just a thumper. He can affect the pass game as well. And that matters in today's NFL because linebackers now have to live in conflict. You have to play the run, fit gaps, communicate, tackle in space, carry backs and tight ends, and still have enough awareness to get your hands on the football. Linebackers have a lot of responsibility. Houston had one of the best defenses in football, if not the best defense in football. And Al-Shaair was the leading tackler on that defense. That is not an accident. That means he was one of the engines of that unit. And the Texans clearly value him because they gave him a 3-year, $54 million extension, which is well deserved. He deserves every cent of that. That tells you the organization sees him as more than just a productive player. They see him as a tone setter. And that's exactly what he is. He's a tone setter. He brings the energy. He brings the heat. He brings the physicality. He brings the intensity. Like I was just telling you, he is probably, if not the most physical, intense defensive player in the entire NFL. He's definitely top 5 in my opinion. So when I look at Al-Shaair at 92, I am not mad at it. I think he does deserve to be a little higher in my opinion. But this is one of those rankings where casual fans might say who, but football people understand who this guy is. Every great defense is a player like that in the middle. Physical, urgent, violent, aware, and trusted. But not every defense has that. The Chargers definitely can use them, somebody like that. Then at number 91, we have Montez Sweat, defensive end for the Chicago Bears. I'm not that big on Montez Sweat, really. I think he's I'm not really a big fan of him, but he's solid. 17 games, 53 tackles, 13 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, 18 quarterback hits, and 3 forced fumbles. That's it. I mean, it's impactful, and that is production. And this is why I'm not saying that he's bad. I just not a huge fan of it. That's all. Because I just think he's an average player. To be honest, I think he's an average player. And this is and like I think I don't think he's a better defensive player than Al-Shaair. So and him at 91, I think 91 fits Montez Sweat perfectly. I think Al-Shaair is too low. I think he should be probably like in the 70s, in my opinion. I think he's that good of I think Al-Shaair is that good of a defensive player. But I mean, maybe they have him. Well, these are ranked by their colleagues, right? For other football players as well. So I was about to say maybe Al-Shaair is ranked low because this is his first time on the list, but I don't know. I just, in my opinion, I just think he should be like in like 80s at least. And this is why edge rushers are so valuable. Sacks matter, yes, but pressure changes everything. Pressure speeds up the quarterback. Pressure forces bad throws. Pressure creates turnovers. We're talking about Montez Sweat. Pressure destroys timing. You can have the greatest coverage plan in the world, but if the quarterback has all day, eventually somebody is going to get open. That's true. Montez Sweat, like he gave Chicago double-digit sacks, and he led the Bears in sacks again, and was a major part of a Bears team that won the NFC North and beat the Packers in the wild card round. So this matters because when your best pass rusher shows up in big games, that is not just production, that is presence. And NFL.com had a good pro insight on him. They said Sweat caused 4 turnovers by pressure during the regular season. That was tied for third among all defensive players. That is a hidden value of pass rush. It is not always just the sack. Sometimes it is the hit, the hurry, the panic, the ball coming out way too early or just early. The quarterback making a decision he did not want to make. So that's the disruptive of an elite pass rusher. So when I look at 92 and 91 together, I see a theme. Al-Shaair represents the middle of the defense: communication, tackling, coverage, awareness, physicality. Montez Sweat, he represents the edge of the defense: pressure, disruption, forced mistakes, and closing speed. One controls the middle, one controls the edge. So, and this is football, man. Everybody wants to talk quarterbacks, receivers, fantasy points, highlights, and all of that. I haven't even talked about fantasy on this platform. I don't think I ever will, to be honest. But defense is still about people who can change the game without touching the ball. Defense, I would still say, is the most important side of the ball for a team. So that this is why I like the NFL Top 100. It reminds you who the players respect. It reminds you who you may have overlooked. And it reminds you that this game is still won by people who do the hard jobs. So Al-Shaair at 92, Montez Sweat at 91, 2 defenders, 2 tone setters, 2 reminders that defense still matters. And to be honest with you, a cornerback has not been on the list yet. I don't think. For so far the videos that I've been doing. So the NFL.com, they do have higher rank. They do have more rankings, and I'll do more videos on. I think they got up to 80 in the 80s or somewhere in the 80s. So I will do more videos on that and we'll see. But so far we went from 100 to 91, and I'm pretty sure there's not a cornerback at 90, and there's no cornerback. So that just tells you how important the cornerback position in football is. Like I said, I'm gonna stick on my take that the cornerback position is the most important position on defense. Like, comment, share, subscribe. This is all day, no days off on this platform. I will be back with the next names on the list. I'll be back with more football content, more stories, more insights, more coverage. You know how it is. Deuces.